This is my PGG optimizations explanation video. The first thing I added was a rotate class that is added only onto the frames, the sprites in the frames, which removes it from the game manager and cleans up the overall script a bit. This is for the refactoring part. I've also added a particle manager and an animation manager. The animation manager is to control the background sprites, the mouse, rabbit, and panda, and control the oscillation. And I removed it from the game manager in order to help the game manager run a bit better as well as clean up the overall code. Same thing for the particle manager. Now for the first asset optimization that I added was I actually reduced the number of particles. I've reduced the number from 1,000 to around 50, or yeah, around 30 to 10. And this is because having too many particles being generated at the same time as the frames being deleted will have quite a big load on the processor and slow down the overall game. The next modification I did was I removed the fruit sprite folder, as the fruit sprite folder was never used, and having an extra sprite folder there will actually uh, increase the time before startup, as the frames has to scan through both the animals backgrounds and fruits folder in order to find the proper sprites to implement. So deleting that will increase the speed of the game and improve frame rate. And another optimization I did was for the sound files, which I compressed them and dropped the quality slightly in order to make it run a bit faster, as the smaller the file, the less processing power required to actually play the whole sound file. And for the code optimizations, I changed show background function to private from to public from private, which means now the game doesn't have to search through the files in order to call this function. Instead, I can just put these three sprites into the code itself, and it doesn't have to search through to find and call the sprites. Another thing I've changed was for the ray casting, I've changed the code about how it has to check if the ray casted object is a frame, because on this in this game, all of the frames that are instantiated, which will be ray casting, they're all instantiated from the same frame. So as long as there's an object there, it will definitely be a frame. So having the extra code to check if it's a frame is just slowing down um, the it just increases the amount of time before the code is run properly. And the last change I did was for the particle effects. I actually added a delete particle effects after 2 seconds code, as the longer the particle effects are being generated and rendered at the same time as the frames are being deleted, the more processing power is taken up by said code. So reducing the time the particles are on the screen reduces the overall load from the renderer onto the overall game frame rate, which helps to increase the frame rate overall.